One second here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for my last workshop Wednesday of the year. Usually December gets just so crazy. So in the past, I just think it was too much. So this will be my last one, but I have lots of great stuff in store for you guys come 2026, which I can't even believe I'm saying that. It's so crazy. Um, so last, usually I make some announcements, but I'm going to save those for the end. So please make sure you stick around for the end because I do have a few important things that I want to go over. Um, Krista has to leave right at 11:30, so I just want to make sure that we um get through everything that she wants to talk about. This is such a great segue for what we went over last month, which is probate with my title officer, Kyle Johnson. So if you did not listen to that and you would like the recording, let me know, and I'm happy to send that off to you guys. But Krista Hermance, I think many of you already know her, but if you don't, she's very, very involved in our Ventura County community. She does a lot of lunch and learns for specifically for real estate agents for free. So if you are not on her email list or social media, definitely give her a follow because she, like I said, and she's already showing it. I was going to mention this, but she co-brands with you and gives you all kinds of good stuff. I'll let her talk about that. But thank you, Krista, so much. I know how busy you are, so thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm just going to go ahead and
Absolutely.
hand it over to you.
Thank you, Brenda. And if you all see, Brenda is famous here on my slide as her picture is up as the co-branded material. Um, and so, yes, we do a lot of stuff with real estate professionals. So if you are not a part of the real estate program that we have, it is free. Please share your email in the chat or send it to me directly. And I'll be sure to get an email sent to you to get some more information on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about protecting the deal, protect the legacy, no trust, no sale. So again, my name is Krista Hermance. Our firm is Hermance Law. You might know us on social media as estate planning mom, estate planning dad. I am a licensed estate planning attorney, licensed in the state of California, and we service and work with clients all throughout the state. Also working with other attorneys in other states as they have clients that have properties here in California that pass away, and then we have to help administer those estates as well. Okay, so quick question for you. Just raise a hand if this has happened to you. Have you had any deals that have had to go through probate court? Anybody had any deals that have had to go through probate court? Okay, so not too many. Which is great because it probably was a lot smoother, right? Except for Peter, and Leslie here, who, um, can understand the complications that come when somebody passes away, right? And now we have to take that house, that property through probate court. Okay, so realtor reality. So you work really hard at the work that you do, getting the listing, finding a buyer for that listing, and then getting actually to the finish line at closing. One issue that can come up from a title perspective is um, if somebody passes away, right? Or if there's some other title issue where maybe a child has been added to property, there's been other people added to the title for the property, right? And this one issue can cause everything to stop, right? At no point can you continue moving forward with this transaction if there are some of these issues that arise. And so it's really important, and this is what I'm going to go through with you today, is how to spot those risks early on and even before the potential risk comes up, right? Just when you're working with families on home sales and they're moving into their first house, really educating them on things they can do to prevent this stuff from happening down the line. And so this is helping protect the deals before they fall apart, right? Whether it's in the now or something for the future. Okay. If you guys have any questions at any point, please feel free just to jump in. I'm happy to answer questions as we're going forward. Okay, so why does this matter to you? So when you have a deal that falls apart,
PD?
it means lost commission, frustrated clients a lot of times, right? They don't really understand that things were caused that were outside of your control, but they're still frustrated with you, right? I get it all the time with clients where they're upset with the situation and it falls onto us, but it's things that happened years ago that weren't things that we could have prevented. And so it's hard, right? Not only from you, but them being upset, right? Maybe leaving negative reviews or, just not being the happy clients that we want to be able to serve. So by helping clients plan properly, it's going to lead to more referrals for you, right? Because they're happy, they're sharing their experience with friends or family when they need to sell a property or buy a new property. Closings are going to be faster, so that with if there's no issues when it comes to clearing title and trying to figure out what are these issues, it means that those transactions are going to happen quicker and fewer surprises, right? When it comes to title, especially. So you become the trusted advisor that they remember, that they are referring their friends and family to. Okay, so the no trust, no sale problem. So when there is no trust in place, and I'm going to do a quick refresher on what a revocable living trust is in the next one. So just bear with me as I kind of go through this. So when there's no trust in place, when a person passes away and they own property in their individual name, that means that the property cannot transfer without some type of court intervention, right? It can't transfer to a family member. It can't transfer as a result of a sale, right? Everything is halted because there is going to need to be some type of court intervention, whether it's us filing a petition. If they did have a trust in place and maybe it was outside of the trust, right? Or if we actually have to do a full probate. One of the other things that's come into play recently with AB 2016 was now a kind of fast-paced probate, where if it was their primary residence, it falls under $750,000. Now we can do kind of a fast track probate, but again, it's still having to go through with some type of court intervention. And so that can lead to problems, right? Title is likely not to insure a property where there's going to be issues when somebody has passed away. Escrow is going to freeze, so no moving forward with any type of transaction until this is able to be resolved. And then again, when a probate is needed, you're looking at a 6 to 12 month delay, right? From the time that especially if escrow has already been opened. Um, it's a really bad situation to be in because then it's you have a buyer and now are they going to continue? 30 to $50,000 in fees that could happen as a result of probate. Enrique Andelin. Um, sorry, 30 to $50,000 in fees as a result of this. Just to give you an idea, I have a case right now. It is still not done. And this was a case where we're not actually handling the probate. We were brought in to represent the beneficiaries because they were not being recognized as beneficiaries of this probate. And so we were brought in by the beneficiaries. There was a house that, as part of this probate, that was on the market for sale. And this was about a year ago that all of a sudden some other heirs come in and they say, we did um, I don't remember what the test was done, but it's like 23andMe, like the inheritance, like you test your blood and you see who's in your bloodline. They did this and they said, this is actually my grandpa, and we're entitled to some of the money as well. And so, because we weren't the ones who were in charge of the probate, they were essentially fighting with the people that were in charge. And so it had to go through court for the judge to decide. The judge decided and they appealed it. And we are still in the appealing process of the decision from the court. So this house has been for this entire time in the middle of a sale where it hasn't been able to move forward because of this one issue that happened. And this is where having no trust brings in all of these actions, right? Because it's not a public record when it's a trust, because it's private, right? But when it's in probate, it's a public record. People can pull information, they can find out what's going on. Even if it's not right, right? It still can slow down the process. So this is just an idea of an example of a case that is still going on. We don't have any clear direction at this point. We're waiting for rulings, and the house is still not sold. Um, and so this is just, these are things that you have necessarily no control over in the moment that it's happening. But again, prevention is key here to try and make sure that these issues are resolved early on, because clients are going to get frustrated, and they can only get frustrated with so many parties. And unfortunately, it's usually the agents and the attorneys that are going to feel the brunt of that frustration. Um, so again, no trust, the deal could be dead essentially, right? Buyer's gone. Now the family's stressed. Depending on what's happening with the market, there it could be substantial, um, there could be really bad things that happen as a result of it. Just thinking through some other cases that I've had where, somebody lost a sale and then the market dropped. And then the house sat on the market for a long time before he could actually get it sold at a lower rate because he had issues with title, right? So and that specific case was on a transfer on death deed. Does anybody like those? I do not. I do not recommend them. So if you ever have clients say, "Oh, we're going to do this transfer on death deed," have them, talk to some professionals, get some input onto them, because I find that they just cause a lot of issues. Okay. So, real quick refresher for you on what a revocable living trust is. So, revocable living trust, revocable trust, a trust, these are all the same names that mean the same document. And it is essentially a legal document that keeps assets out of probate court, right? When somebody passes away, those assets do not have to pass through probate because they are named in title in the name of the trust, right? Which therefore keeps it out of probate court. It helps ensure that ownership transfers smoothly after somebody passes away, right? Again, because it's not having to go through the court system and follow along with court timeframes, it's allowing it to be done internally by the executor of the estate to get those transfers done. Um, it protects privacy, right? No court involvement, which means, again, they're not public records because a trust isn't something that is recorded, right? It's not brought forward when somebody passes away and put into the court system. It's private. And so any of those assets that somebody has isn't going to be there for anybody just to go start looking through and seeing everything that they have. Okay, so having a trust saves time, it saves on stress, and saves thousands and thousands of dollars in fees that a lot of times estates don't necessarily have the access to those funds, right? And this is where we see this a lot, especially with the the prices of houses now, just cause those probate fees to go up pretty substantially. Okay. Um, so what is your role in prevention? So some things to ask clients about, and I think this is really important. And just knowing those conversations that you have with them, things to consider, right? Um, so when you're talking to somebody whose name is actually on title. This is where it can get a little tricky because I find that people have an idea of who they think is on title or how title is held. And in all reality, it is not actually the case where this happens, especially when it comes to joint tenants, tenants in common, married couples. You know, that language changes how things happen as a result of somebody passing away. And if I'm in a room with a bunch of married couples and I ask them who owns title jointly as a married couple, they all raise their hand, right? When it's really maybe 50 to 60% that actually have that as titled. Some own it as joint tenants. No even spousal relationship is community property. Some don't even have the other spouse on title, right? Because maybe they did some type of refinance to get a lower interest rate, and one of the spouses had to come off because it was going to give them a better interest rate. And they don't even know that the other spouse isn't on title until we start moving forward with this process. So it's really important to make sure they understand whose name is actually on title, asking them if they have a trust, right? A valid trust where the property is in the name of the trust. If they have a trust, was it updated after they bought or sold the property, right? Making sure the schedule of assets in the trust is accurate, because we do use that if there's an issue when they're trying to sell to bring the property back into the trust. We might have to file a court petition to get the judge to approve that. Um, and again, is the home titled and funded in the name of the trust? We call this funded into the name of the trust, making sure that it is specifically in the name of the trust. So you don't have to give legal advice, right? You're just helping them avoid the risk by connecting them to the right professionals, right? So it's not you saying, oh, here's what you need to do and drawing out a map for them. That's, essentially giving legal advice, but it's, I have some understanding about what a trust does and it avoids probate. You don't have a trust, you should look at getting a trust, right? There's ways to do it without giving legal advice. You're being a resource for them. Okay, a few red flags to watch for. So, asking clients if title shows an owner that is deceased, be very careful when entering into a listing agreement with who is going to be signing. I've had clients come to me when somebody has passed away and they had a real estate agent reach out to them right after somebody passed and have them enter into a listing agreement. And they were not assigned by the court at that moment to be able to enter into this agreement, right? Because they had no court authority. And so it's really important to understand and make sure that you aren't entering into a listing agreement with somebody that isn't able to sell the property and to enter into that agreement at that point. Okay. Especially if there needs to be some type of court approval. Um, Watch out for clients that say, we'll get around to a trust someday. Right now is not a great time. I hear that. What I also see though is people who keep saying that and keep putting it off, and now somebody has a stroke, right? Or the dementia has set in. And at this point, they're in crisis planning mode. And it's not, so much money to get the trust in place. It's now four times that cost because they're having to get court intervention, right? And so it's, people that keep putting it off is something definitely to look for. Another really big one, and I hear this a lot right now, is parents wanting to add kids to title of their property, right? Or considering it. And I've even had agents come up to me at events and say, I have this client that's considering this. And I'm like, please tell them no, do not add their kids to title. They need to understand the things that can happen as a result of doing that. And so when you hear that, pump the brakes a little bit and have them make sure that they really understand what happens. If there's out of state heirs or multiple siblings, especially if there's no trust, um, these can cause issues, right? People not getting along, things taking longer because of them, especially being in different states, and just not agreeing on things, right? This is again where trusts come into play and can make it very clear on things that you want when you're creating a trust. Unmarried partners buying property together, that's always another one to make sure that, especially if they're not creating trust, what is their plan to happen with the property if something happens to one of them? Um, what if one of them gets sick, right? They have no legal authority, especially if they're unmarried, to be able to do something to help in those situations without having legal documents identifying who that unmarried partner is. So each of these has specific delays that could result from any one of these, or some type of legal mess that needs to be handled. Because anytime you think about a situation where there's going to be some type of legal ramification and people just want to put it off, the cost of doing it where they're involving attorneys to go to court and court intervention is going to cost just 3 to 4 times the amount of money, right? Sometimes even more than that, um, depending on the situation that's going on. I just spoke with an agent 2 days ago, and the deal that she was working on, they were up to $120,000 in legal fees, which is that is very, very high. But it's because of the situation that was going on with the property, right? Okay, so just a few things as I wrap up here regarding adding kids to titles. So some common mistakes, these are misconceptions that people don't really think through when they say, oh, I'm just going to add my kid to title. Then if I die, it just goes to them. It avoids probate, right? In reality, that's it's not that easy, right? So I just want to give you some things, some points to consider. So triggering capital gains taxes, this is a huge one. It can have substantial impact on those kids that aren't recognized when they're added to title. It exposes the property of the kids' creditors, right? So if they have issues, legal issues, those creditors can come after the parent's house, right? It can cause property tax reassessment, right? The property taxes go up, and for a lot of the families I work with, if they've been in that house for a while, they've got low property taxes, they wouldn't be able to afford a reassessment on some of these properties. It removes the flexibility if the relationship changes. So, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say mom adds son to title of her property, and then she realizes, my bills are just really high. I don't have a lot of money to cover it. I want to do a reverse mortgage, right? To be able to pay these bills and I don't have to worry. And then son comes back and says, well, I'm on title and I don't agree with that. And now he won't approve it. And I've had this happen in 2 cases. And so I know it does happen. And so if something happens and they don't agree with what the parent wants, they're joint owner on the property. So they're not in control. Um, the other really big one that I think isn't really thought through is, what if there are other kids? Right? Like, what if the kid that gets added to title has siblings? How are the other siblings supposed to inherit? And you would hope that the one sibling that's getting added onto title is in good faith, will share with the other kids, but there's nothing legally obligating to do that. And you never know when parents pass away how those kids are going to react and what they're going to do. Not to mention, how do you just share pieces of property, right? Are you going to pay them out? Well, now you might have to file gift tax returns, right? There might be more reassessments because now you're adding people to title. And so there's other things that can happen as a result that I think a lot of times are just not really thought through when it comes to adding kids to title. Okay, so protecting your client, protecting your reputation. So clients remember the agent who saved them a $50,000 mistake, right? They're going to remember those situations and be very grateful to that agent for being able to help them and be that resource. When you flag potential issues early for them, right? You're seen as knowledgeable, trustworthy, and a professional that goes above and beyond just being the agent that helped them with the purchase or the sale. So this is a great opportunity to reach out to past clients, right? To be able to contact them and say, hey, I know you bought your home a year ago. You didn't put it in a trust at that point. I just wanted to check in and see if have you done that, right? Because I have some information I think is really important, just in some sharing some stories of things that can happen, right? But it's a great opportunity for you to reach back out to them, right? As being that knowledgeable, trusted advisor for them. Okay, please keep us in mind. We are now booking brokerage and business seminars for 2026. If you have clients that you want to get in front of, generally we would have agents a few of them would work together, and then we would kind of do a seminar for your clients to get them the knowledge that they need on estate planning and how it can help them. So, please share your email or send me an email if you're interested in getting any of these things booked to do these type of presentations. Again, you as a resource, I think is really great in the eyes of your clients because you are their trusted advisor. As mentioned in the beginning, if you want to join our real estate professional um, program that we have, put your email address in the chat. I did see a few that came in there. So we will reach out to you with an email just to give you some information and get you signed up. And then things that we can help your clients with. So if they buy a home, if they have minor children, if they refinance their home, if a family member gets sick, somebody passes away and there's a home, whether it's going through probate or trust administration, or they don't really know, right? That's another big one we see is they don't really know next steps. And if you find a family that doesn't have an estate plan and they want to protect those family members and their assets, those are things that we can help you with. Okay, at this point, I'm going to leave room if there's any questions. I can stay for just a couple minutes. I do want to say thank you again to Brenda for having me here today. I hope this was helpful and resourceful for you guys, and just being a really good resource for your clients.
Thank you so much, Krista. Anybody have questions?
Thank you,
Anyone?
Krista.
Thank
Anyone?
you.
Anyone?
Thanks so much.
Well, I will email you all anyways and make sure you guys get Krista's information if you don't have it. And like I mentioned before, if you're not on her social media, I would definitely recommend you reaching out to or following her on Facebook and Instagram and all that, and staying in the loop with her Lunch and Learns, which are really great and usually in Ventura, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Krista. You guys, I just have a few quick announcements. Why are some of you guys are familiar with a women in real estate, but you men are more than welcome to join as well. We do have, I know I'm not going to be doing a workshop Wednesday for December, but they are on December 15th having a Zoom call with Eric Lofholm, and he's doing a 2026 planning class. So if you want to be a part of that, he's fantastic. And so it'll be a really, really great class again, December 15th. I believe that's at 1 o'clock. And then also, our Women in Real Estate group is having our annual holiday party and gift exchange. We are adopting 5 families this year. So all the monies are going towards these 5 families that we have like 24 family members to buy for. So would love your guys' support on that. If you're interested, let me know and I will send you I'll send you the information on that. And then we do, I think I reached out to most of you guys, but we do have the 2026 daily planners. They're like the nice leather daily planners. So if you want one of those, I know a lot of people also are just do everything on their phone nowadays, but some people just love it still all in writing. So if you want one of those, let me know. And then I do have the desk calendars if you would like one of those. And then, of course, you guys, if I'm not already, I would love to be a part of your team for 2026. So let me know what I can do to help you grow your business. That is my job. With my title officer, Kyle, he's so amazing on, inside our title department and running the show, but my job is to help you guys build your business. So anything that I can do to help you brainstorm, think of different ways to farm and create more business, I would love to meet with you guys. I do want to just let you guys know, I almost forgot in regards to finding out who is on title and how title is held. You can always call me and ask, but I do have a couple of programs that will allow you to see that information and you can look up properties, you can create your farm, and then also if you want to see your whole farm in general, it will show you exactly how that property is vested. And so, you can reach out to those people that don't have a trust. And especially with Krista's awesome co-marketing or co-branding marketing items. So definitely let me know if you're not signed up already on that. All right. And I think that's it. So thanks you guys so much for attending today. If you would like the recording of this, I'm happy to send that to you as well. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If I don't see you guys, I am actually leaving on vacation next week. So if I don't see you, let's get together before the end of the year. Right. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much, Krista.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. Have a great day, everyone.